Hello, hello. It's one more game to talk about in the first week of the AFL finals. Second elimination final, Fremantle hosting the Gold Coast Suns in sunny, beautiful Perth. It's going to be wet that day by the looks of the forecast, so don't know if that will play into who you should pick. The bookies have Dockers pretty strong favourites considering the rest of the games are all like within 50 cents. This is like a dollar blowout, which I think most experts and people would say this one's the most kind of clear-cut decision to make. But let's talk about it. Fremantle Dockers made a couple changes. Both are forced, 2 injuries. Nathan O'Driscoll and Isaiah Dudley come in, 2 handy players, replacing Corey Wagner, who's been very solid, very dependable this year, and Sam Switkowski, who can be a game changer on his day. So there's a pretty big outs for them. In, as we all know, David Swallow retiring at this end of the year could very well be his last game. More than likely will be his last game. I don't know if he's listed as a sub. Probably is listed as a sub. I could check the teams, but yeah, he comes in for Jake Rogers, so bit of experience, bit of midfield grunt. Players to watch, pretty standard. Noah Anderson, Ben King. Wonder if Luke Ryan will go to Ben King. Ben King, Alex Pearson probably, yeah. Luke Ryan tends to like to drop off, so play it loose and kind of be the help defender. So Alex Pearce will get that matchup, so that'll be an interesting one. Noah Anderson, absolute gun. I also the recent matchups. There's only one game played against them. One game played against each other this year. I couldn't think of the words. Can't think of English. Freo won that on the Gold Coast by 11 points when Gold Coast were actually kind of flying at that point in time. So I think you can read into that how these two teams matches up. And then, well, they only play it's interesting. That's pretty rare. They only play each other once a year over 3 years. Usually, like, at least one time in that kind of period, a team will face each other twice at least, but that's interesting, yeah. And the Dockers have, had the chocolates over the last 3 times. They've been fairly close games, but I mean, it does make sense being the first time Gold Coast have ever played in the finals, so they don't win. Well, they usually lose more than they win, so the stats seem to verify that. Yeah, one game between them. It's pretty even spread over the season, but Freo's form at the back end of the year was pretty impressive, apart from that blip against the Lions where they were absolutely outclassed on that day. But they had that very impressive win over the Bulldogs. Yeah, the loss, pretty disappointing at it. Yeah, they probably learned a few things off of that one. That scrappy win over Port Adelaide in that away game, also an impressive game. And two pretty straightforward victories, beating the Blues and the Eagles, who are just absolutely kind of unplayable this year. So yeah, Fremantle's form of the second half here was pretty impressive. And then the Suns losing that game to Port Adelaide hampered them greatly. They could have finished top 4. They could have avoided this scenario altogether if they just played a little bit better in that Port Adelaide game. And they lost to the Giants as well. Got pretty outclassed. Obviously smashed the Bombers, but the Bombers were already done. They were done bloody 2 months ago. So again, they just got a couple wins against weaker opposition. So Fremantle's form does look slightly better in the back half of the year, or the run home. So the Suns tend to get the ball a bit more than the Dockers, so the Dockers must be pretty efficient with their ball use. I think that's one of the lower totals for the teams that are actually still in the finals. Inside 50, Suns dominate that, so they obviously win it through the midfield. The forward line not obviously functioning that well. They're above their clearances, better in marks. Disposal efficiency is pretty even. Possession, it's heavily in favour of Suns. Free kicks go Suns' way as well. The Nepo babies of the AFL, apparently, according to some, aka Ross Lyon. Tackles, that's where it's a bit more even. So that's Freo's pressure game, which is, I think that's one of their strengths. The hit outs, Fremantle on they have 2 good ruckmen, but they're not really ruckmen that will dominate the tap outs. Darcy's better than that, but Luke Jackson's more of a midfielder come forward, come ruckman. So this could be an interesting thing. Given the stats, the Suns could have more possession, which would mean more entrances in 50, but yeah, Fremantle's pressure from their midfield and their high half forwards will make the ball scrappy, and the defenders should be able to curtail the Suns pretty easily, I think. So this is the one I'm most confident about. As much as I like to pick the Suns to win, being I really don't like Fremantle and I'd kind of like them not to win. The Dockers to win by 36. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's pretty straightforward. I just think they'll be too strong. They've been better form. They're at home. All the momentum's going their way with this one. We take a pretty monumental choke. It's not outside the Dockers' scope to choke this kind of game, but given the players that they do have, they got the better players overall throughout the whole squad. Their pressure game is pretty strong, so they should win this. But of course, let me know what you think. Can the Suns, in their first ever final, pull off the upset and get their first ever AFL final win? Or will it be one-way traffic for the Dockers? Who knows? I got a pretty strong feeling about this one. Anyway, till next time, if you enjoy what you see, the AFL content, let me know with a comment and think about subscribing. We got the rest of the finals to get through, and the NBA season coming up. And yeah, I was gonna say make some more content about the Premier League and like some more football related content, but I don't have time for that. I've got to work a job, unfortunately. Yeah, stick to my two more knowledgeable subjects being AFL and basketball. Anyway, that'll conclude week 1 of the AFL finals. Hopefully it's a good one. Bye.